General for the state of Kansas. So it's not just one person, it's not just one community, it's not just, one set group of people. The entire state of Kansas has brought forward a lawsuit against Pfizer, accuses Pfizer of misrepresenting the COVID vaccine and hiding safety risks in the lawsuit. In his complaint, the Kansas Attorney General, Chris Kobach, accuses the maker of violating the state's Consumer Protection Act by misrepresenting the safety and efficacy of its vaccine and reaping the rewards with billions of dollars in revenue tied to its sales. Kobach levies accusations that the company hid knowledge of serious adverse events, waning effectiveness over time and across virus variants, and uncertainty over the vaccine's ability to prevent COVID transmission, which, by the way, I don't know if you guys remember, but this is what was harped on every single day through every news media outlet, especially CP24, where Justin Trudeau would make his daily announcement and harp on the fact that you got to take the vaccine, you got to take the vaccine, you have to take the vaccine to prevent transmission, If you turn on CNN, you saw the daily death tracker, right? Do you remember that?
Yes.
Yeah. So it was just like fear mongering. And okay, what else does it say? Points out several instances in which Pfizer allegedly hid safety information, including the vaccine's risk in pregnant women and a potential link to myocarditis and pericarditis, as well as strokes and death. It also accuses the drug maker of censoring critiques on social media through its campaigns and partnership to dispel misinformation. So I'm sure a lot of people can relate to that, because anytime that anybody said anything against vaccines, they were completely muted, blocked off of all social media aspects, right?
Yep.
And, to a certain extent, that censorship still exists today. And it's, that just kind of shows you that, the government is trying to control us. This, in my opinion,
I think
was
that's the case. It's ever since it's been like this. The government has always tried to control its people.
Yeah, and I think this was more so like a test run for, for the government. I mean, again, this is allegedly, but there are a lot of reports that this was leaked out on purpose. And this was leaked out of the Wuhan lab, which, you remember at first it was like, oh, it came from a wet market, it came from bats, it came from this, it came from that, it came from like 2 feet from the lab where they're testing that exact thing. You know what I mean? Like, it didn't come from the lab, it came from the wet market, which is like 4 feet from the lab. Come on, man.
Yeah.
We're not that stupid. Like, you duped us the one time by forcing us to take these vaccines. And honestly, like, it wasn't even really like a dupe. It was more so like they limited everything that you could do. You couldn't go to a movie theater. You
Yep.
couldn't travel. For sure, you
Yep.
couldn't travel. You had to show your vaccine. Like, I think up until very recently, you had to show your vaccine passports, right? Like, I think that only changed like within the past year or so.
I'm
Am I
not
right?
sure exactly when it changed, but yeah, I do remember that you were no longer required to show your vaccine immunization records and stuff.
Yeah. So
Yeah.
up until like pretty recently, you had to show, you couldn't travel, you couldn't go anywhere, and anywhere you went, it was like, are you vaccinated? Are you vaccinated? Are you vaccinated? We need proof of vaccination. We need proof of vaccination.
Yeah.
Come on, man. That's crazy.
Yeah. And I'd like to know, from our viewers, do they regret getting the vaccine or do they think they did the right thing by getting it? I mean, comment, let us know.
Yeah, definitely comment below. Let us know, what do you guys think of the vaccines, and did you guys end up getting the vaccines? Did you guys get any sort of side effects with the vaccines? We're hearing of people developing this long COVID because of the vaccines, right? It's unfortunate. One of the side effects of the vaccine is in regards to pregnant women and stillbirths and miscarriages and stuff like that. Like, horrible things, man. Horrible things that we wouldn't wish upon, your worst enemy. And unfortunately, this is people's reality.
Yeah.
So it breaks my heart that unfortunately we found ourselves in this situation. but it gives me a little bit of solace that people are standing up. And I can guarantee you that if this lawsuit, if Kansas, the state attorney general, if they end up winning this lawsuit, oh man, there's going to be a ton of states that follow suit, right? I know that Texas, the state attorney general, Ken Paxton, filed a similar lawsuit last year
Okay.
against Pfizer. So let's see how these things pan out. Sometimes these lawsuits take a while because even if there is a judgment, then there's appeals, and it's a lot of back and forth. So it might
Yeah.
take a little while, but I'd be interested and curious to see how everything turns out.
Yeah, yeah, honestly, and I didn't even know that there was a lawsuit going on with Pfizer. So, but I always knew there would be some side effects, and there would the vaccine. There's not vaccine is not something that we should go for, but most of us, like you said, were forced in one way or another to get vaccinated.
Well,
And yeah, man.
you know what they said. One of the side effects of the vaccine was the roof collapsing. And it seems like the science center took that vaccine shot and had its roof collapse.
Yeah, yeah. The Ontario Science Center is shut down as of today. It will no longer be in business because the infrastructure needs major work on in there. They're
Damn,
saying that they need it needs roof repairs. The roof can collapse at any time.
damn.
So
And there reports that the science center took some vaccines too.
I'm sure the
But doesn't
employees at the science center took some vaccines.
but doesn't isn't this kind of in line with what we were talking about before, that
Yeah,
everything is sort of falling apart, like all of
infrastructure.
the
Yep.
infrastructure is just why was it so poorly designed, right? That's a question that should be asked at this point. First of all, infrastructure wise, that we have basically the worst type of traffic there is. Like literally, it deters you
Yes.
from driving because you're like, man,
Yes.
I don't want to sit in traffic for like 2-3 hours just
Yep.
to get from this place to this place, which should only take me like 20 minutes, right?
Yep. Yep.
So why was it so poorly designed in the first place? And then the 407 highway that we have that
Yep.
provides some relief
Yep.
was sold off to private
Yep.
corporations so
Yep.
that they could make money off of it. And we have to pay tolls not to the city or not to the province, but to private corporations.
Yep, yep. And honestly, 407 is not affordable, man. Not for a average
Oh, it's
working class.
absolutely.
No. It's only the high class or businesses who can expense all of that mileage they're the only ones that can afford it. You go
Yeah.
to 407 right now, well, it used to be better back in the day, and by back in the day I mean like, several years back. But now they have it like segregated. Oh, you travel from this time to this time, this is a charge. You travel from this time to this time, this is a charge. You travel on the
Yeah.
weekend, this is the charge. You travel in the rush hour, this is a charge. You take one trip, 20-kilometer trip, it almost turns out to be like $1 a kilometer that you travel on there.
Yeah. 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 It's
Yeah,
it's
yeah,
very unaffordable,
yeah.
and it's uh, especially in the time of inflation where everything else is killing us.
Yep,
This is just the cherry on top, right?
yep,
Because you're
yep,
sitting on the 401. If you're not taking the 407, you're sitting on the 401. You're wasting gas because it's literally like a parking lot. And it doesn't
yep,
matter what time of day, which day you go and you travel on the 401, you
yep.
are going to be spending quite some time there. So make sure you guys take some snacks with you, and
And do
especially
your
this.
washroom breaks before you get on the 401.
You know
Yeah,
how many
man.
times I see people like pulled over on the side and just what I'm
Yeah.
saying, like taking a pee right,
Do their
right along the
business.
side of the. It's crazy, man. I can't. I honestly cannot recognize this country anymore. I can't recognize this to be Canada anymore. It seems like a third world country. It seems like everything is falling apart, breaking apart. People don't care. The drivers are ridiculous. There is no humanity left. Like especially on the roads, there is
Yep.
just
There's no love,
no.
man. There's no
Well,
love on the
there's
road.
there's there's hardly ever been any love, but like even basic humanity
Yep.
is scarce, right?
Yep.
It's hard to find Anybody that is driving with a rational mind these days, it's all about, I don't know what, sort of hurry these people are into and where they're trying to get to. I mean, they're trying to rush to the next red light, I guess, right? Because that's what it is. You're
Yeah,
you're you're gunning it, and then you're stopped at the next red light.
yeah, yeah,
And then you keep hearing about all these, like, over the past week, man. Over the past week, I think I've heard like about 8 or 9 major accidents on internal roads
yeah,
where cars are being flipped over. Like, how fast are these guys going? Where they're climbing the curbs, the cars are being flipped over, people are dying. Internal roads, not highways. Because, like we said before, highways you can't even travel that fast because you're sitting in traffic.
yeah. No, and it brings me to another point, man, over here. So now we have all these cars, luxurious cars, go insanely fast. Our
Yeah.
speed limits are 40, 50, 60, 100, 110 in those rare roads.
Hmm.
And you can't even do those speeds. It comes time when we're thinking, okay, why are you going to make a car that can go 200 kilometers an hour with 200, 300 horses
Yeah.
when your speed limits are only 100?
Yeah.
I You can't blame the driver completely. Yes, there are bad drivers on the road, and I'm not taking their side. Let me just clarify that. But what I'm saying is, if the government wants to prevent people from speeding, make sure all the cars can't do more than 100, 110 kilometers an hour,
The
right?
problem is that right there is too much control, right? It's like it goes against the basic freedoms of the citizens. And
It's
the reason,
against. No, I don't agree with what you said. Okay, where's the freedom? If you are going to give somebody a car that can go 200 kilometers an hour, give
yeah,
them a road that they can do 200 kilometers an hour,
yeah,
right? There's no roads. You take it to a racetrack.
mhm.
That's the only place you can go, and that's all there is. Don't give them something that they're not able to use it to its full potential,
But
right?
they can use it at the racetracks. They can use it on, whenever they don't get caught, right?
They don't
Because
get caught. That's but they're still breaking the law regardless. They don't get caught or don't
that
get
and that's
caught.
fine, but that's
There's
fine,
still
right? Like, you have the laws. You have
You
laws, right?
have the
So
laws.
it's
Yeah.
it's it's kind of like this. It's kind of like this. So, just to prevent people from stabbing each other,
Yep.
everybody should walk around with a straitjacket. No, that doesn't make any sense, right? People
Yeah.
can't be confined before something is committed, just in the hope that, the 1% or the one person that might stab somebody is going to already be in a straitjacket so they can't stab someone, right? So
Okay.
the same way, you can't, like, you have the laws there. If somebody stabs somebody, of course they're going to jail, they're paying the price for it, right? Hopefully,
If they get caught.
if they get caught. So
Yeah.
you have the laws in place where, all right, this is the speed limit, this is how fast you can go. And yeah, you get a little bit of a leeway here and there, right? If
Yep.
you want to drive 200, 250, 300 kilometers an hour, that's on you. But you can't limit the car. I mean, I get your point. I get it. I understand that, what? There are no speed limits that even come remotely close to 200, 250 kilometers an hour. I get it, right?
Yep.
But sometimes, if somebody, if they're paying that sort of money and they have the horsepower, right? It's not that they might be pushing it to the 250, it's that they're pushing it off the line, right? To feel that engine,
That
to feel the
adrenaline, that G-force.
adrenaline, to, yeah, the G-force, to just,
Yeah.
push it through, right?
Yeah.
And I mean, from my experience with the range SVR that I had, it's fun, man. It's a lot of fun, right?
It's
Like, so
exhilarating. I
it
gotta
is,
agree.
it is.
Yeah.
So it's, when the car like just roars, it's just, there's something about it, man. You can't replace it. I
Exactly. And now let's coming back to the point. What if your Range Rover limited you from doing that? You would never
Then
do
I
it.
would hate life.
You wouldn't spend that money. You wouldn't spend that kind of money.
Right,
But
right. But
you
that
go buy
but
a
that
Toyota
goes
Corolla.
against, I know, but that goes against capitalism. Look, the four rules of capitalism are, you have the freedom to buy, the freedom to sell, the freedom to try, and the freedom to fail, right? These
Yeah.
are the four rules of capitalism. So
Yeah.
if we want a capitalistic society, which like most people do, I think most sensible people, that's what they want, right? They don't want to
Yeah.
go towards communism. They don't want full government control. They don't want
Yeah. Of course.
that, right?
I don't want that. Of course.
Yeah. So when you have that, then you have to have the freedom to try and fail, right? You
Yep.
got to let these people do whatever they want. You have the laws in place. You have, the posted speed limits or whatever the case is. Now it's up to you. However you want to do it, right?
Yep. Yep.
You shouldn't be. It's the same way as drunk driving, right? Like it's a
Yep.
serious charge. Unfortunately, it's caused way too many deaths, right?
Yep.
People still do it, but they shouldn't,
Yep.
right? And they're deterred from doing it. They have the right checks and everything like that. And we are completely against drunk driving.
Yes.
But the freedom to fail comes in perspective at that point, right?
At
Like
that
if
point.
you
Yep.
get behind the car or the steering wheel of the car, there's a massive price to pay. God forbid you kill somebody and take somebody's life, you're going to rot in jail,
Yep.
right?
Yep.
So yeah, I don't know. I
Anyhow.
don't think that there should be limiters on cars, but at the same time, I think that the infrastructure needs to be a little bit better. And
Yes.
also, I think we should look at the stats of the autobahn, right? And
Yeah.
see like how many people are getting killed, and if
Yes.
there is a possibility where a highway can be created without any speed limit so that people can do whatever they like and they can enjoy the cars that they're driving, right?
Okay.
So
Yeah. Yeah. No, I agree. I agree. No, there's a lot of improvements that could be made, even if they don't enforce unlimited speed on any highway, whether they create it or use an existing one. I
mhm.
still think that they can do a lot of improvements in terms of educating the drivers how to be smart drivers, not just 100, and everybody's in a straight line, right?
Yeah.
That and
Well, actually, you know what? You bring up a great point, man. That
yeah,
that right there is um I guess the difference between life and death nowadays on the road, because
yeah,
a lot of the people that are coming in, and again this touches back on the immigration aspect, a lot of the
yep,
people that are coming in, they unfortunately hire these driving instructors that take them to these remote cities
yep,
where it's nothing like driving in the city.
in the city,
Yet,
yep,
yeah, yet they take you over there so that you can pass your driving test and your exam
yep,
and everything and get your G license and then drive in the city. It
yep,
shouldn't be like that. You should be
nope,
restricted to the area that you're living in to
yep,
get your license. And
yep,
you should be able to pass under those conditions. If not, you need proper driving instructions, and take a driver's course here and there, whatever the case may be, so that you understand and you follow the rules of the road here, right?
yes,
Most of the
yes,
people, like
I
it
agree.
boggles my mind that some of the people, they don't speak a word of English. How do you follow the signs?
Yeah, no,
How do you pass your exam? How do you follow the signs if you can't speak any English? Like, we are in Canada, you
yeah.
know
Also, it brings me to another point. You know how we have that rule that if you have X number of years of driving experience somewhere else in the world, you can give in your license and then directly move to a G2
yeah.
without any wait period after passing the G1. I
Hmm.
think that is also a very big loophole for anyone that's coming in from different country, because most of the third world countries you can get on demand your license made with whatever number of experiences you want to put on there.
Yeah.
So that's another bigger part of the problem. No matter how many years of experience anyone has from anywhere outside of North America, I think they need to go through the proper procedure. G1 wait time, G2 wait time, then G.
Yeah. Well,
Yeah.
I think, sure, that could be looked at, but to be honest with you, I think if they restrict people to where to the jurisdiction that they're living in
Yep.
for the driver's exam, I
Yep.
think that's going to solve a majority
I
of
agree.
this issue, right?
I agree.
Because
Yeah, that's a big
that
part. Yeah.
that's a big part.
Yeah.
Because even if, let's just say that you are a good driver, you know how to drive, you know how to respect the rules of the road, okay,
Yep.
sure, you can get your license, right? If you're able to drive in the city and you're able to not put other people's lives at risk, absolutely,
Drive,
But
yeah.
if not, the people that, and the people that cause the accidents more often than not, a lot of people think that it's the people that are speeding, right?
No,
More
no.
often than not is the people that are unsure and they are
Yes,
anxious while driving because they don't know what they're
yes,
doing and they get
yes.
terrified, and then they make these sudden reactive moves that
Yep.
put other people at risk.
I'm one of those people, man. I mean, I've had an accident and it wasn't my fault. But no matter how good of a driver I am, I was in a situation, no matter what I did, I was not able to avoid it. Unless in an instant I could put up a speed from 20 to 500 kilometers an hour, there's
Yeah,
no way I could have escaped it. And I was involved in a collision and it happened. Unfortunate. It's unfortunate, but it
yeah,
happened. There's nothing I could have done to avoid that situation other than leaving the house 5 minutes later or earlier,
yeah.
which nobody can control.
Yeah, yeah, yeah,
Yeah,
absolutely.
yeah,
It's
exactly.
and sometimes accidents are accidents, right? They're
Yep,
unavoidable, but
yep.
more often than not, I would even argue over 85% are preventable accidents, right?
Yes,
If people
yes.
were either paying attention, if they weren't being, absolutely ridiculous on the road,
Yep,
if they knew and respected the rules of the road. Like for example, like my biggest pet peeve is people that are coming out of parking lots, not looking right or left, and just going out onto the live traffic. Like,
yep,
how stupid are you? You know what I
yep,
mean? Like, how dangerous is that, man?
yep. And the worst thing is they don't even realize it.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, yeah. So anyhow,
So, yeah, anyway, man, that is basically where we're at. But we're going to wrap up this episode with this content. Make sure you guys tune in. We're going to be dropping new episodes every week and possibly even twice a week. We're working on that. We got another surprise coming up for you in the next couple of weeks. So stay tuned. Make sure you guys like and subscribe. And make sure you comment below because we talked about a lot of controversial stuff. So make sure you guys comment below. Let us know how the vaccines affected you. Let us know what you think of the, rules of the road. Let us know what you think of Amir's idea of limiting the speed limits on cars. So,
I don't
and
think people are gonna like that.
how much, and make sure you guys comment about Amir's love and support for Trudeau. If you guys
Oh
support
yeah.
that, if you guys are against it, make sure you put it in the comments below. But yeah, we'll catch you soon. Thank you for tuning in. It's your boy Raheem signing off with your boy Amir. We'll catch you on the next one.